My name is Mike. I'm with Removery, the world's tattoo removal experts. Today I'm talking with Nick. He is a tattoo artist, Pokemon collector, avid gamer, and a foodie. Nick, what's your history with tattooing, with gaming, with everything?
So I've been tattooing 13 years now.
So 13 years ago, you got into tattooing.
Yeah.
And that's not your first job.
No, a lot of jobs.
So where did your tattoo journey start? Were you were obviously a client first.
Sure, yeah.
What got you into tattooing?
I don't know, I just always saw them and aesthetically I was like, I want to look cool, you know.
Where did you see them first?
Probably like band members, like, you know, I'd listen to emo music or...
Nobody in your family has tattoos?
My older brother did, but like my family was not cool with them at all. So he'd come home with them and it was like, Nick, don't do that. Like he went away one time and came home literally with 2 full sleeves. So don't know how he did that, but...
And that was kind of your first introduction to tattoos?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like really seeing them and being like, oh, I do kind of want them, but like, you know, my parents saying, don't do it.
How old were you at the time?
14, you know, because I think he was like 18 and literally went off the deep end, just covered himself. So
tell me your story about the first tattoo.
The first tattoo I got was Brandon something in Emmaus, and he was recommended by other people because I was like, oh, you know, who's everybody going to? And I love the movie The Crow. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get wings on my back because that was the trend at the time.
That was your first tattoo?
Yeah, that was my first tattoo. My whole upper back, it was wings. And I wanted them to look more like crow's wings, but they 100% look like baby cherub wings.
What was that experience like? First tattoo going kind of half your back.
I didn't know what to expect, obviously. So I was like terrified, I'm sweating. But I did the one half, and then this guy was like, oh, I have numbing cream. Do you want to use it on the other side? And I was like, okay, because I didn't know any better. So he put it on the other side. We did the other half, and we just did the basic outline of the wing, like the very, very outline. And I went home, and I showed my brother, and the look on his face was like, it's not supposed to look like that. They were all blown out. Again, I didn't know any better. I was just like, oh, they're just big, thick lines.
So the first experience, you didn't get your brother's approval.
Right.
And now you're self-conscious of your back, but you can't see it. So kind of a win-win, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you're 18 at the time?
Yeah.
Hiding this from the parents?
No, I showed my dad. You know, I think I was just like, fuck it, they're going to see it eventually anyway. So.
Right. What was his reaction?
My dad was always just kind of like, oh, okay, you know, just don't put them on your neck or your hands or your face. And I was like, sure.
But you went back and had it finished.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. So we did the outline and he added more and it didn't look any better.
And then that started kind of your tattoo journey.
Yeah.
From 18 on, how quickly did you start like acquiring the tattoos?
Pretty quickly. I mean, younger, I think my sleeve was done by the time I was like very early 20s. And then I did my chest and I was just getting like stupid stuff on my leg, like poker tattoos and a bowling tattoo and like all this other. I was like, oh, I have a hobby, I'll get a tattoo for it.
My generation typically didn't get tattoos below the elbows until you were in the working field.
Sure, yeah.
No care about getting visible tattoos?
I feel like it was like a slow roll with the arm because I was like, oh, a half sleeve, and then I did 3/4, and then, you know, I got a retail job where I was a manager, so I said screw it and just did the whole thing.
Thought process behind doing your sleeve? What drove it?
I want to look cool and I want girls to think that I look good. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we go into being a retail manager,
yeah.
And this is also a unique time in life because reality TV has fizzled a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Ink Master just is getting off the ground. And at the same time, social media is picking up again for its second wave.
Right.
So Facebook had been a thing since the early 2000s. Yeah. And around 2010, 11, 12, Instagram comes out.
Right.
You were an early adopter to Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. I was on there like the first couple months, I think, that I actually was out.
You had a lot of followers before a lot of followers were a thing, because I've heard some stories about this.
Yes, yeah, it was weird. I mean, I'll just start from where it was, but a mutual friend of ours, Emmy, was like, hey, you should download this app. And I was like, that's stupid. Why would I post photos of anything? And then she's like, oh no, like you do art, you could post your art. So back then, Instagram was like, you could comment on people's photos, but there's no messaging. There was no...
You had to take the photo in the app, too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And at that time, if it got enough likes, it would go to the popular page, which everybody on the app saw.
Yeah.
And this one guy at one point, he had maybe like 3,000 or 4,000 followers, which was a lot at the time. He shared one of my photos of the sneakers that I used to make like custom sneakers. And he shared that. And then all of a sudden my like all this following where like I had to turn off the notifications on the app. Every photo that I would post, regardless of what it is, would go to that popular page. Everything. So it could be a picture of a taco that I ate for lunch. So all of a sudden it was just like followers, followers, followers. It was crazy.
And this is before the term viral had really been kind of crowned.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I wasn't even tattooing yet. So
You
it
were
was
you were just managing a retail store.
yeah, a retail store.
What were you doing as a kid?
I remember back in grade school, like fourth, fifth grade, I used to trace Simpson stuff and color it and then sell it on the playground for kids' extra lunch money. So literally I was like hustling art.
You're doing art. You're doing custom sneakers, which is a really big thing in the early 20 teens, I guess is what we call it nowadays.
Yeah.
You're managing a retail store, and you're getting heavily tattooed.
Yeah.
The next step for you is what?
I just stumbled into tattooing.
Okay.
Like that, it was retail into tattooing. And I had always in my mind, like, oh, I wanted to try it, but I hold my pen real weird. I hold it like a monkey grip, kind of like how I'm holding a microphone. So that always deterred me being like, oh, I'm never going to be able to hold a tattoo machine. I was living with my brother and his girlfriend at the time. And she came home and had a newspaper article and was like, oh, this tattoo shop is looking for art in their lobby. So I took them a bunch of the sneakers that I painted. And they're like, oh, these are cool. You know, we can sell them in the lobby. I became friends with them. And then eventually they were like, hey, do you want a tattoo? I was like, I guess I'll try it. I would have to wake up driving at least an hour to my retail job, do that, drive an hour to my apprenticeship. Sometimes I'd only be there a couple hours to clean up or clean tubes. Always on the move, always working.
And you're making nothing at the tattoo shop.
No.
So this is pure passion.
Yeah.
What were you feeling like as an apprentice?
I was really excited. Like once I was in a tattoo shop and I was like, oh, like even cleaning tubes, I was like, this is cool. I felt like I was part of something. Just excited.
And you're drawing this entire time?
Oh, yeah, every day.
And this is also the dawn of the iPad. So
this was before.
Yeah, okay. So this is before like iPad, drawing on an iPad was a thing.
Yep, I was sketching in a sketchbook. This was the red pencil era.
The work that you do now is very definitive and it has your own flair and style to it. What were you attracted to doing back then during your apprenticeship?
It's kind of still what I'm doing now. I just didn't know how the hell to do it. I was kind of winging it. And looking at those old designs, I'm like, ugh, sorry to anybody I tattooed back then. I remember on Instagram then, as tattooing became more of a popular thing to look at, I saw neo-traditional in Europe. And there was definitely people in America doing it. But I saw it and I was just like, that's it. Like, I love this. I love the bold lines, the bright colors. But it was more of the modern take on stuff.
Was fake skin a thing back then? Or were you on grapefruits? Or...
There was fake skin. I think I did that a couple times, but in apprentice, it was expensive and my mentor never bought anything for me. So yeah, I practiced a couple times, but I tattooed on human skin. Like,
wow.
Yeah. He was just like, dude, go. And because I had a good group of friends and working retail and then Instagram, people knowing me on there, I had like almost a wait list when I started tattooing. So it was kind of cool.
A year into tattooing is when I met you.
Yeah.
And you already had a 3-month waiting list.
It's crazy.
People were lined up at your booth at the convention to buy art and kind of talk to you because you were this being. Like you were a tall guy with a big beard at the time.
Yeah,
and
huge beard then.
That was like a very thing.
It was very weird. It was like, I've always just kind of been more of a reserved kind of dork to myself, and then when I got into tattooing and got that type of attention and people wanting to like see my stuff at a convention or talk to me, it was very foreign. So I had to learn to kind of adapt and be more social and talkative. And
tattooing's weird because it's a lot of art. It's
Yeah.
a lot of time putting thought and effort into the outcome. How did you start to refine your style? When did you start to be like, I love what I'm doing?
if we're talking about like the technical aspect and applying it as a tattoo and learning to make it a good tattoo, I still feel like I'm learning all the time, where I look back even a few months ago where I'm like, oh, I'm better than a few months ago. So it's never been, I love this and it's perfect. I think it's always going to be like I can be better, I can be better, I can be better. I want to be the best at tattooing that I can be. I think it's like you can't perfect a craft. I don't think that's really possible. So it's just this desire to improve. I don't want to fall behind. I don't want to just be like that tattooer that finds a gimmick or the one thing. I grind it into the ground until nobody wants it anymore. So I just want to stay relevant. I want to stay busy. I want to make really good tattoos, keep making people happy. And it's super inspiring. That's one of the main reasons I traveled so much for all these years. Everyone would be like, I feel like you're at a convention every month. And I'm like, I am. I was meeting new people and I was making these friends from all over the country and the world. And we were learning and growing together. I was like, oh, how do you tattoo? What colors do you use? And it was just all these people kind of like building this community. And I'd have to say, man, 90+% of the tattooers that I've met, I've stayed friends with. And I'm like, I actually like you. Like, oh, now we're friends. And I'm like, wish I could pick up all these people from all these places I know.
You've gone through a few shops, and
Yeah.
then you made the decision to open your own.
Mm-hmm.
Was it intimidating? Was it inspiring? Was it exhilarating?
It was everything. It was, could I start my own business? Do I even know how to get the paperwork done? Can I file my taxes? Can I do all that stuff?
At these conventions, you don't go by Nick very often.
No.
Can you give me the history of your screen name, of your Instagram name, of if this is in a lot of your gamer world games?
Yeah, I think I heard the term so many different times. Like dead meat was a bully would be like, "Oh, you're dead meat," or the one big thing was it's in Mad Max. The one part that there's like a kid screaming it, "No, we're dead meat." And when I made an Xbox account, I think it was Dead Meat Deli. And then I made an Instagram account. I just shortened it to Dead Meat, and now it's like been my nickname, my superhero name, whatever.
It's the name on your knuckles.
Literally, hey, it fit. So I was like, what am I gonna get there? Oh, that fits perfectly.
What do your parents think about the name?
You know what? My parents, I don't think they think anything about the name at all. I think they were like, oh, you're not doing drugs and you're making money. And my dad was, he passed away, but he was my biggest supporter he's like, don't put anything on your face, please. I was like,
And you haven't yet?
no, I don't think I ever will.
No?
I don't think so.
So we covered your first tattoo.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tattoo?
My neck, actually, though.
Who did it?
Her name's Bria. She tattoos and tea leaves on Instagram. She's incredible.
What makes it your favorite?
For me, I held off getting my neck for so long. I think this is only probably like 3 years old now. It was a bunch of different things. It was like me saying, hey, I'm in tattooing. I'm doing well. I know that I can get this piece and it's not going to, hopefully, knock on wood, affect my career negatively. And it's also that like I got my hands done and they're fine, but I wasn't stoked. So when I went to get my neck done, I was like, it has to be perfect.
And a lot of your tattoos are not in the style you do. What do you do when you've got a tattoo that you just don't love anymore?
Laser it.
Let's talk about that, because
Yep.
I started lasering you almost 9 or 10 years ago.
Has it been that long?
I think it's been about that long.
That's crazy.
And you're now getting it covered.
A bunch of them. Well, I've had a bunch covered, or
Yeah.
I'm in process of covering. Yeah.
So your back, who's covering that?
Alicia Harding.
And she's also doing your leg sleeve.
Yeah, so we kind of jumped from finishing that to my back. So
Amazing. And you've had some other smaller pieces covered. You mentioned earlier winning awards was something that meant a lot to you. At one point, a gentleman named Timmy B was winning every award at every convention all of the time.
he's the man.
And you came in second place for a long time. One of your tattoos is covered by him. What was it like getting tattooed by him?
Oh, it was awesome. And even though he's younger than me, which I found out when I started tattooing how many tattooers that I looked up to were younger than me, which felt odd at the time, but he's somebody that I always looked up to artistically, especially when I started tattooing and I saw his stuff and I was like, holy crap, I'd never seen anything like that. But he was also, when I met him for the first time, was somebody who was always nice to me. And I looked at his stuff. I wanted to be as good as him. And then when he tattooed me finally, I was kind of friends with him at that point. So it was this surreal feeling of having some tattoo heroes that you become friends with. And
Did you know that when we started fading the tattoo on your leg that you were going to have Timmy covered, or did that come later?
no, I think when we started my leg, I just knew, I was like, I'm tired of these and I need good tattoos. So it was actually him and Lindsay Baker that worked on it together.
So laser, talk to me about it. What does it do for you as a tattoo artist?
A bunch. I mean, I think for me personally, it's helped me remove the stuff I wasn't confident with. And then as I'm correcting the, not mistakes, I guess, or just kind of upgrading, I can also like show my clients that, where they come in and they're like, oh, I had this tattoo, I'm not really stoked on it. And it gives me the ability to be like, oh, here, do this, laser it, come back, and we'll cover it with something, and then you'll be as happy as me.
What's that like from a client's perspective when you tell them that I'd love to tattoo you, but you need to get this faded first?
It's a delicate conversation because you don't want to, one, insult the person or have them feel insulted, and to make sure they know, like, I want you to come back. I'm not trying to take more money from you or have you spend more money, but in the long run, it's the best idea.
If somebody's not really sure that that's the path they want to go and they're just like blast over it, is there a certain point where you're like, I will, but you have to understand there's compromise, or I'm sorry, I just don't think that I'm your tattoo artist?
I think there's both. I literally just had somebody write me last week, and he's like, hey, I want to do a full Japanese sleeve, which I was stoked because I want to try to start doing that stuff more. But then he sent me photos, and it was very dark tribal stuff. And that instance specifically, it was that conversation of like, look, I would love to, I really think it'd be better if you doled it out first and then we can go back over top.
10 years or give or take is how long you've been getting removal and
Mhm.
you've been sending clients to get removal done.
Sure.
Are you finding that now it's a little bit easier of a conversation? It's more accepted?
Yeah, for sure. I think now that more people are doing it, they're, like your locations are everywhere. So people see stuff, they feel more confident going.
What is it like to tattoo over skin that's been previously lasered?
I don't see the difference. I feel like a lot of people early on would talk about, oh, the skin gets so tough, blah, blah, blah. It gets chewed up, or, it just feels more difficult to tattoo over. I don't have that experience. The only difference that I've seen is like if somebody has gone to a laser removal specialist that's not as qualified, their skin texture might be different.
One of the things that you've done throughout your career, which I thought has been just so amazing for clients, you share the process.
Yeah.
There's a random time almost every week or every other week where you're on Instagram Live and you've got your phone propped up and you're just drawing on your iPad, either for yourself or for a client. And you're so generous with your time and you try to answer everybody's questions. What does that do for you personally?
I'm going on Instagram to connect with people and have fun. It's either like a live journal or I'm just journaling so people can access the past whenever they want to. So sitting and drawing on my iPad or tattooing, I'm doing it anyway. So why not chat with people while we're doing that?
One of the other things that you've kind of been really public about is dealing with travel anxiety.
Yeah.
And over the last couple of years, you've really kind of grabbed that and owned it. And it's been beautiful to watch you travel so much for personal and for work.
Sure.
Have you been able to separate the two? A lot of tattoo artists are like, oh, there's a convention here. It means vacation for us / work.
I'm still working on that. And I think Ronnie's helped me a lot with that of being like, even though now that she's doing it too, because now I have a soon-to-be wife who's piercing, and she's like, oh, let's go here to work. She'll also kind of hold me accountable and be like, hey, you need a break. Like, you need a vacation. So make sure, let's schedule trips that are not for tattooing. Because I would do that. I'd be like, hey, we could go to Iceland or Sweden or Germany. And I'm like, oh, then I could set up a guest spot. But I'm trying to have a healthy balance between the two now. So.
And you've been traveling quite a bit over the last couple of years.
Sure, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
I think the other thing they know you for, just because you are an oversharer, you've got quite a repertoire of cooking and also eating food.
Yeah.
How did you get into cooking?
Just naturally. It was I was poor growing up, like my family. So it was a lot of mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up in it. And my dad was a janitor at the school that I went to. So sometimes he'd bring home like extra food from the cafeteria where they're like, oh, we have frozen stuff. It's going to go bad. And there was one time he brought home Salisbury steak and we ate that for like a month straight. So I can't eat Salisbury steak anymore. But when I started tattooing and making a little bit of money, other tattooers were like, hey, let's go try these restaurants. And I remember the first time I went to a nicer French restaurant, I was like, this is what fucking food tastes like? I had no idea. So once I tasted that, I think it was not as passionate as tattooing, but it lit up a part of my brain where I was just like, oh, I'm obsessed with food and finding the best places. And then I literally would watch Food Network. And then
how did that come to be? Like, how do you make the jump from tattoo art and food and travel and all this other stuff to do artwork for a skate shop?
I think some of them are realizing oh, this works well. So, sell product with the actual artists that people enjoy.
What would be some of your dream collaborations?
A custom Nike. If Nike was like, oh, you get to design your own dunk, I would snap. That would be awesome.
Are you finding that the people that are coming to you are regretting what they got? Was it a moment in their life they moved past? Are they sharing with you why they want something covered?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a variety of those things. They're not stoked on the artwork anymore. They got it X amount of years ago, and tattooing's improved, like we said. Sometimes it's stuff with their exes, or I think majority of what I'm doing though is people come to me and they're like, I want you to do a whole sleeve, but I have in the way. So again, if it's really dark and I don't want to I can't feel like I can't work around it, they dull it out. Veronica, my fiancée, is literally lasering her entire arm that another artist did, so that way I can put a whole new sleeve on her.
It's very common in 2025 now to get full sleeves. Come in with one concept and just do it. You and I started decades before you getting tattooed.
Sure.
And it was small pieces because that's what we could afford at the time.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about some of your older, smaller pieces getting lasered?
I was really impulsive when I was younger, again, just because I was getting tattooed to look cool. And I think I've always been an impulsive person in general, but that was a hobby at the time I was really interested in. Some of those things I still do, but I feel like in my mind when I was younger, I was like, oh, I want to get a video game sleeve. But when I'm in my 40s, I'm not going to like video games. And I was like, I should have just got a video game because I have an ocean sleeve and I like the ocean, but like I should have just got the video game sleeve.
A lot of the tattooing process is collaborative, and a lot of times clients don't actually collaborate with you.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons that people are getting their tattoos removed, because the vision wasn't there. It's
Sure.
the song that's stuck in your head that you're humming to forever, and you can't get the words out, and the artist is trying to figure out the words.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on blackouts versus blastovers?
They're both cool. When I was younger, I hated like black arm sleeves and the blackout thing. I didn't get it. But as I got older, I was like, oh, I appreciate that aesthetic. I started getting blastovers on my arm just because there's a lot of tattooers that I still want to get tattooed by and I'm running out of room. So I'm going that route first. And then if I get tired of that, then I can just black it out. So I think it's preference. It's whatever you like.
What's your opinion on iPad versus pad and paper?
The only thing I hate is I just feel like if you're using reference photos and you want to trace basic stuff to get an idea and then create something around it, or if you're talented enough to just create something out of your head and put it on either, it doesn't matter. As long as you're creating something and not just stealing or having somebody do majority of the work for you, I say go for it either way.
If you could design your ideal sleeve for a client that was like, I love everything you do, I love everything about what you're about, what would it comprise of?
Just cool neo-traditional stuff. So like, animals and flowers and,
Lady head,
oh, of course, yeah, for sure. Skulls, just all that cool
green
stuff.
leaves and a snake.
Bunch of leaves.
Would you drip pearls around it too?
Not anymore. I don't do pearls as much anymore. Just too many circles, man.
With neo-traditional the way it is, there are specific styles that are very common amongst most tattooers. What do you do to ensure that your style sticks out and people are like, that's a dead meat piece?
And that's something I think I've had somebody ask me before and it was hard to answer. I feel like I never did stuff intentionally to be like, oh, this is my thing or this is my style. I just naturally let the things I was interested in come out. You know what I mean? Where I was like, I love roses, so I'm going to draw them 70 different times. And I've been inspired by other tattooers for sure. Where I'm like, oh, I like how they angled it, so I'm going to try my own way with that. And yeah, it's just been like a natural way of being like, I want to draw video game stuff. I want to draw this and just,
Or what do you see for the next dozen years of your career?
For healthy and maintaining?
Just in general.
Oh, okay. I don't know. And that's kind of been the question I've been going through in my head lately is like, what is the next thing for me? I was just talking to my friend about this. We're like, I'm happy, but I always am thinking ahead of like, where do I go? What do I do with this? Tattooing is changing. So to answer your question, I'm not sure. It's like, do I keep tattooing, or we talked about before, do I find another avenue to keep creating art? Do I go into food? Do I do a mix of both? Like, I'm not sure. I'm kind of exploring that now.
13, 14 years ago, you were managing a retail store and you grind it to become a tattoo artist. If you never started that grind, what would you be doing today? What would you have been doing that entire time?
I definitely wouldn't be in the mall anymore. I would have found a way into food, I feel like, because that's my second passion. So either like a cook, a chef, doing something like that, a food truck.
Food stylist?
Food stylist, for sure.
Food stylist.
Sorry, my throat's getting itchy.
Well, we've been talking for almost an hour.
This is the most I have ever talked.
Because you tattoo all day.
Yeah, and I talk at work, but I let them do most of the talking. So this is the most I've talked straight, especially about myself.
I am usually the one as the motor mouth, and it's great to be able to let you kind of...
Yeah, anytime we get together, it's just a lot of talking.
I think the other thing that's interesting is that of the hobbies you have, they've all been personal projects. You've never really tried to turn any of them into a hustle to make money. And that's a trap for a lot of people. They say do what you love for a living. And in my experience, that usually is kind of like, that's the drink of death because you end up presenting it. But you do have a hobby that generates a fair amount of side money.
Which one?
Poker.
Oh, yeah.
So what does poker do for you in your brain?
Poker is, I think, the same thing as a video game to me. It just happens to have money involved in it. And it's a combination, actually, if you think about it. It's a video game, and I love the loop of it. It's that same kind of loop where you have to get better at it. But that also goes into tattooing, where it's like, oh, I really like this thing, and I want to be better at it. And then also when you come home with other people's money, a couple $1,000, you're like, oh, that was a good day off.
And do you find that it's a good distraction for you for work?
Yeah, for sure. It's never been a problem for me, luckily. Like, I don't really have an addictive personality, luckily. Knock on wood, I don't think I do. It's a good distraction. It's if, I'm getting older now, a lot of my friends, same way, we're in relationships, we're busy with careers. You don't get to see them as much when we move further away. So going into a poker room is the same thing as sharing, where I'm like, oh, there's just some guys here. We, bullshit, hang out, play cards. I take their money and I leave.
Every week I get a notification on my iPhone about how much screen time I have. And I think one of the beautiful things about being a tattoo artist is you cannot be on your phone while you're tattooing.
Yeah.
How do you stay and manage your screen time when you're not tattooing?
Because
your career is based off of it.
For sure. And again, I think that's why a lot of people get anxiety doing social media, because it's this like, oh, I have to do this thing. I have to answer these people. And yeah, you have to kind of, advertise and be a person, but you also have to learn to do everything outside of that and then get back to that thing. Because those people will wait an extra day or a couple hours. They're not going to go away. So it's learning to be like, this is a fun thing. Let's use it for fun. And then also just managing the time of like, this is the work time. This is me watching reels for 2 hours and laughing. And then I'll go back to answering a message.
I've noticed that throughout your life, you have unintentionally gamified a lot of it. And I think that has to do with just coming up playing video games.
Yeah.
Everything has kind of a means to an end, but also there's a finite amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
What does a day in the life of Nick look like?
Nothing special. I don't know. I wake up, I take the dog out, we do that, eat some basic breakfast. I might play a little bit of a game before I go to work just to kind of like wake up and decompress. Work not that many hours. I'm very fortunate that I'm fast tattooing now. And then, yeah, it kind of depends. Like since, I have the stepdad duty part-time, that I have a lot of free time still. So I'm able to kind of be like, what's on the schedule for tonight? Nothing? Great. Let's go get dinner somewhere.
And your partner also works in the industry. How do you separate work from like home life and just not bitch about work all day?
I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, because like it's nice to be able to come home and complain to a partner that gets it. You know what I mean? She comes home and does the same thing. I don't understand piercing totally. She could be like, oh, I did this piercing. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Show me a picture. But it's nice having somebody that like understands how much I have to work, and when I bring my work home and do all that stuff and travel. So having a partner that does something similar, it's super beneficial.
Tell me who you are, where people can find you, and how they can follow.
My name's Nick Keiser. Some people call me Dead Meat because that's my Instagram page. So that's the main way you can find me. It's Instagram @deadmeat.
What tattoo shop do you own? What city is it in?
Materia Tattoo. It's in Downingtown, Pennsylvania.